Now, I want to talk about Isaiah 36 and Isaiah 37. I'm going to because most people are familiar with the King James Version, I'm trying to reach those type of people compared to the Sefer that, changes the names and the places into Hebrew. I'm going to jump back and forth in between both of them. But in Isaiah 36:1, it says, "Now it came to pass in the 14th year of King Hezekiah that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against the defenses of the cities of Judah," which is Yehuda, "and took them. And the king of Assyria sent Rabzekah from Lachish to Jerusalem and to King Hezekiah with a great army. And he stood by the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field. Then came forth unto him Eliakim, Hilkiah's son, which was over the house, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah, Ashep's son, the recorder. And Rabskia said unto him, Say ye now to Hezekiah, Thus saith the great king of Assyria, What confidence is this wherein thou trustest? I say, sayest thou, but thou art but vain words. I have counsel and strength for war. Now of whom dost thou trust, whom thou rebellest against me? Lo, thou trustest in the staff of the broken reed on Egypt, wherein if a man lean, it will go into his land and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all that trust him? But thou say to me, We trust in Yahuwah our Elohim. King James says, Lord our God. Is not he whose high places, whose altars Hezekiah has taken away and said to Judah, which is Yehuda, and to Jerusalem, which is Yerushalayim in Hebrew, ye shall worship before this altar. Now therefore give pledges, I pray thee, to my master the king of Assyria, and I will give thee 2,000 horses, if thou be able on thy part to set riders upon them. How then thou turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servant, and put the trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? And am I now come up with Yah against the land to destroy it? And Yah said unto me, Go up against this land and destroy it. Then said Eliakim and Shebna and Joah unto Rabshakeh, Speak, I pray thee, unto the servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it not. And speak not unto us in the Jews' language, in the ears of the people that are on the wall. But Rabshakeh said, Hath my master sent me to thy master and to thee to speak these words? Hath he not sent me to the men that sit upon the wall, what they may eat their own dung and drink their own piss with you? Then Rabshakeh said, and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language, and said, Hear ye the words of the great king of Assyria. This is the enemy, the king of Assyria. Just like today, we have those that rule over us. Thus saith the king, Let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you. You have to understand that Hezekiah is a king of our people. And you have this guy, Rabshakeh, working for the king of Assyria, just like today. We have Hasatan, we have Satan, who wants to say words like these. For he shall not be able to deliver you. Thus saith the king, of Assyria, let not Hezekiah deceive you, right? for he shall not be able to deliver you. That's how Satan works today. He wants to deceive you, and he wants to make you think that the promises of Yah that are yes and amen, they won't help you, right? Because, obviously you have to eat, you have to work, you have to obey, all these things that these modern day rulers put over you. And we're talking specific things. I'm just kind of being general right now, but for he shall not be able to deliver you. So this is number one lie. This right here, this understand that thus saith the king, let not Hezekiah deceive you. See, that's how Hasatan, Satan, comes into your mind. In 1 Corinthians it talks about cast down vain imaginations that exalt himself against the knowledge of Yah, and bring into captivity every thought unto the obedience of the Messiah, right? So if you don't do that, then you're going to listen to these words of the king of Assyria through this man that he sent to say, do not listen to Hezekiah. He won't be able to deliver you. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahuwah, saying that Yah will surely deliver us. This city shall not be delivered into the hands of the king of Assyria. Hearken not unto Hezekiah, for thus saith the king of Assyria, make an agreement with me. See, this is how Hasatan works. This is how Satan works today. Well, they're going to kill you tomorrow, because you're following the Most High in his ways. You don't fit in with modern society. And so, if you just obey us and do this and do that, and you don't listen to, your king, the Messiah that was sent for us, right? A lot of these kings, representing our future that we live in now as far as the Messiah. And say the devil, since he couldn't defeat our Messiah, hallelujah, when the Messiah was taken up and he says, bow down to me and I'll give you all the kings of this world. Well, all the kingdoms of this world right now are still happening. They're still, the elite that rule over us right now are still over us. And they have all kinds of ways, all kinds of modern ways to speak to your mind to cause you to bow. But imagine this man here, Reb Sakah, is like the devil, Satan. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahuwah, saying that Yahuwah will surely deliver us. This city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus saith the king of Assyria, make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me, and eat ye every one of his vine, and every one of his fig tree, and drink ye every one of the waters of his own cistern. You see how the devil will come in and, well, you need to take care of your family. You need to keep your job. You need to eat. You don't need to obey the Most High, his king. At this time it was King Hezekiah, but right now, presently, it's the King Yahushua, what the Christians call Jesus today. Because I'm not so much trying to reach out to my own people, but I'm trying to reach out to the Christians, which I was one for many years. Until I come and take away, in 17th verse, the land and your own land, and the land of corn and wine, and the land of bread and vineyards. Beware lest Hezekiah persuade you, saying that Yahuwah will deliver us. Hath any of the Elohims of the nations delivered his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? So you have to understand that the king of Assyria was going about all these nations and conquering them and destroying them. So it doesn't look good. Just like today, we have all the modern day, conspiracy facts. I would call them facts because they're really true. They're not theories. And it's so much in our face through YouTube and through all these things is that, yeah, it's true. It's happening, but it shouldn't be the forefront in our mind. In other words, it should be like, yeah, this is truth. This is what's going on. But you're going to see that we'll just laugh in their face. So here he is mocking the Most High of Yasharel, of Hezekiah's people, which is us. Hath any of the gods, the Elohims of the nations, delivered his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? In other words, that Hasatan, Satan, the one that tried to get our Messiah to bow down to him and give him all the nations of this world, right? You have this king of Assyria who's conquering. Kind of reminds me in Revelation when, like, the seals and the bowls and all these things are released, and there's like war that happens, and there's a horseman that goes out to conquer. But in verse 19 it says, "Where are the gods of Hamath and Arphad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim? And have they delivered Samaria out of my hand? Who are they among all the gods of these lands, that they have delivered their land out of my hand? That the that Yah should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand." So in other words, he'll like give you all this truth, which is truth, the news of today. Well, there's war going on. This king of Assyria has actually ultimately came in and conquered and destroyed every nation that has entered. And hey, the devil understands. He understands that he's going to come against the hardest nation to conquer, which is Jerusalem, and he's trying to entice them out through words, right? Well, we need you, instead of coming in and destroying you. Hey, we're going to make an agreement with you. We're going to give you a nice house, a nice car, a nice job. Hey, maybe take this, this concoction, this thing that I deliver through, needles. I have to be very careful here, but so you can keep everything, your money, your job, you have to feed your family, right? That's what I've always heard. I had to feed my family, right? So he's going to entice you with the very necessities that you need, food, water, money. You got 3 months left for your retirement type of thing. Oh, you got Social Security. Oh, I have a bank account. So, in other words, so we go on to the next verse. "But they held their peace and answered him not a word. For the king's commandment was saying, answer him not." So you have to understand is that when the devil and Satan comes in to bring and entice you and offer you something that Yah's already offered you, I mean, Yah, that he's never seen his righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He right now is preparing a mansion for you. Where I am, you'll be there also, right? So the thing is he's our provider. He's the one who gave us all these promises. It's always the devil. It's always the enemy that comes in to say that, well, mine's better, because we live in this world right now, a physical body. What do we live like? 60 years, 90 years, 120, and it just seems so real, but it goes so quick. But we have to think in the light of eternity. But I love this in that verse 21, that they held their peace and answered him not a word. See, we never have to sit there and respond in fear. We never need to respond quickly. And we never need to respond when the enemy comes in to speak to you. Because If you're so full of Yah's word and his promises and his deliverance and his words that he promised to give us, that he's going to, all these promises of Yah are yes and amen, right? And if you read all the ending, we win. So we answer Hasatan not. We answer the world rulers not. The ones that are trying to bring brain chips, the ones that are bringing in AI, the ones that are causing you, the Noahide laws. These things that are coming upon the earth right now, it says, do not fear him that can kill your body, but fear him who can kill your body and your soul. So in other words, fear the Most High. Let's go on to the next verse. Then came Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, that was over the household of Shebna, the scribe of Joha, the son of Ashaph, and the recorder to Hezekiah with their clothes rent, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. So in other words, here you got the scribes, they're coming to the king and saying, this is what the enemy said. And rent in their clothes means they're all like overboard repenting. They're, they don't know what to do. So they bring this information. So we're going to go to the next. This is the end of chapter 36. We're going to go to 37. So Hezekiah calls in the prophet of the Most High, Isaiah, one of my favorite prophets. I mean, they're all awesome. In Isaiah 37:1, it says, and it came to pass, when King Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes. He repented. And he covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of Yah. And he sent Eliakim, who was over the household, and Shebna, the scribe, and the elders of the priests covered with sackcloth, unto Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, and said unto him, thus saith Hezekiah, the day is a day of trouble and of rebuke and of blasphemy, for the children are come to the birth, and there is no strength to bring forth. It may be that Yahuwah Elohim will hear the words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Assyria, his master, has sent to reproach the living Yah, and will reprove the words which Yahuwah hath heard. Wherefore lift up thy prayer for the remnant that is left. Are you a remnant? Ask yourself, are you a remnant? Have you given in to the conspiracy facts that are really true? But that's not our ending. That's not our promise. Our promises are yes and amen from the Most High throughout his word. We win in the end. Wherefore lift up thy prayer for the remnant that is left. So here's King Hezekiah coming into the prophet Isaiah and asking him to lift up a prayer for the remnant that is left. Are you part of the remnant? We should be the end time remnant. No matter if you lose your home, your car, your money, your bank account, your job, will the Most High preserve you? So the servants of King Hezekiah came unto Isaiah, and Isaiah said unto them, thus say you shall unto your master, thus saith Yahuwah, be not afraid of the words that thou hast heard, wherewith the servants of the king of Assyria has blasphemed me. So here's the king, or here's the prophet Isaiah. First words is fear not. You understand is that when you read the Besorah, and you understand that every time the Messiah appeared to anybody, his first words were always fear not. Because everyone's in fear. Everyone lives in fear, So Isaiah told them, fear not. In other words, be not afraid of the words that you heard. Okay. And in the next verse it says, behold, I will send a blast upon him, And he shall hear a rumor and return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land. What a powerful prophet of the Most High, Isaiah. So Rabshakeh returned and found the king of Assyria warring against Libnah, for he had heard that he was departed from Lachish. And he heard saying concerning Terekah, king of Ethiopia, he has come forth to make war with thee. And when he heard it, he sent messengers to Hezekiah, saying, Thus shall he speak to Hezekiah, king of Judah, saying, Let not thy Yah Elohim, in whom thou trustest, deceive thee. Okay, let's back up here. Let's understand this. Understand is that before the enemy comes in to try to kill you, he'll use words. That's why it says to cast down vain imaginations that exalt himself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bring into captivity every thought into the obedience of His word. Right. So so basically, here's the king trying to cause him to doubt, like Isaiah's words and the Most High's words. Thus shall you speak to Hezekiah, the king of Judah, which is Yehuda, saying, Let not thy God, let not thy Yah, the Elohim, in whom thou trust, yes, we do trust in him, deceive thee, saying, Jerusalem shall not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. See how that is? The king sending back lies to cause him to doubt the Most High. Behold, thou hast heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all the lands. So he'll sit there and he'll remind you of how victorious he's been in your past sins. He's been in your past defeats to where you don't know how you're alive today. You don't know how your next door neighbor made it, who's you've seen everything he's been through, or your parents, or your kids, or anything. Behold, have you heard what the king of Assyria has done to all the lands by destroying them utterly? And shalt thou be delivered? So you think the Most High, through this prophet Isaiah, that you're going to withstand the king of Assyria? Yeah, right. We've destroyed every land we entered into, just like Satan does today. You're just a little lamb. We're going to come in and sift you as wheat, buddy. I mean, look all around you. They're dying of cancer. They're losing their jobs. They're starving to death. There's war going on. It's so bad. You should at least compromise so you can feed your family, right? So in other words, he's mocking the truth of the Most High. He goes on to say, Have the gods of the nations delivered them, which my fathers have destroyed at Goshen and Yaharim and Reseth, and the children of Eden, which were in Telazar? Where is the king of Hamath and the king of Upper and the king of the city of Zephron and Hena and Iva? So the king of Assyria, through his little prophet, false prophet guy that's coming in to give them word, just like how these demons whisper in your ear, and you're not going to make it, Jeff. You know, they're going to take your bank account, dude. You're not going to be able to store no more. Hey, they're going to mess with the weather so much you won't even get rainwater to take a shower with. You won't even be able to grow a garden because of the chemtrails. You just might as well just take the brain chip. I mean, how do you compete and get a job? I mean, this is really what's going on. This is the truth of what's going on. This is what's happening. It's AI taking over, and they're going to rule over you. They're going to understand and know everything about you, buddy. And they do now. It's already been going on for years. So Hezekiah prays for deliverance. See, the fear starts setting in. Okay? And Hezekiah received the letter from the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up into the house of Yah and spread it before Yah. And Hezekiah prayed unto Yahuwah, saying, O Yahuwah of hosts, understand that word host. That's the army of heaven. That's the same one that when one of the prophets, when the army was coming against him, he says, look, cause my servants open up his eyes, and his eyes were open. Then around about were chariots of fire. When King David consulted with the Most High when he went into war, he says, when you see the tops of the mulberry trees moving, then you go in after, right? And what walks on the top of mulberry trees? Well, it's the host of heaven. It's the angels. It's the angels of the Most High. They're they're innumerable. I mean, that's who we have on our side. I mean, this king of Syria and Hasatan, they know that. So that's why they have to use words to try to defeat you before they come in physically to defeat you. So in other words, O Lord, O Yahuwah of hosts, Yah of Yasharel, that dwellest between the cherubims, thou art the Elohim, even thou alone, all the kingdoms of the earth, thou hast made heaven and earth. Incline thy ear, O Yah, and hear, and open thy eyes, O Yahuwah, and see and hear the words of Sennacherib, which thou hast sent to reproach the living Yahuwah. Of a truth, Yahuwah, the king of Assyria, hath laid waste of all nations. See, they weren't denying that this was going on, that the king of Assyria has had victory of 100%. Okay? And it seems in your life, he might have victory in your life 100%. So this is why you got to be like King Hezekiah and go in prayer. Just please go in prayer. And has cast their Elohims into the fire, for they were no God, no Elohims, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone. Therefore, they have destroyed them. Now, therefore, O Yahuwah, our Elohim, save us from his hand, and all that the kings of the earth may know that thou art Yahuwah, even thou only. So here's Sennacherib's fall. Then Isaiah the son of Amoz sent unto Hezekiah, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, Elohim of Yasharel, whereas thou hast prayed to me against Sennacherib, the king of Assyria, this is the word which Yahuwah has spoken concerning him. The virgin, the daughter of Zion, has despised me and laughed thee to a scorn, and the daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head at thee. Now, it kind of reminds me of Isaiah 7 when the virgin shall give birth, to our Messiah, and he's our great deliverer, and I'm not saying that this is that relates to that like specifically word for word, but it just reminds me of that is all I'm saying. But it's really talking about us, how we're frail and we're like a virgin, like a maiden of the Most High. But this is what the thing is that the people of Yasharel that were under King Hezekiah, and with the prophet Isaiah, right? This is how we should be to all these lies that the king of Assyria brought, which is like the devil, Hasatan. We should laugh him to a scorn. Like, like I've always found myself when I went through the most impossible situations that you could not even believe was happening. It's almost like unbearable. And I would sit there and I would laugh at the devil. And that's like, all you got, buddy? Instead of crying, I would end up laughing. I would be laughing at the devil. because it's like I must be doing something right that you're coming against this guy. It's like, that's all you got. Well, hey, you can't compare it to my promises of my father at all. I mean, you can kill me right now, buddy, but you can't kill my soul. So, anyways, the daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head at thee. We should be a rebellious people against the lies of the devil, against the lies of the king of Assyria. Next verse. Whom hast thou reproached and blasphemed? Against whom hast thou exalted thy voice and lifted up thine eyes on high, even against the set apart, the Kodesh one of Yasharel? But thy servants hast thou reproached Yahuwah, and hast said, by the multitude of my chariots I come up to the height of the mountains, to the sides of Lebanon, and I will cut down the tall cedars thereof, and the choice fir trees thereof, and I will enter into the heights of his border, and the forest of Carmel. I have digged and drunk water with the sole of my feet. Have I dried up all the rivers of the besieged places? Hast thou not heard long ago how I have done it, and of ancient times? That's why we have to return to the ancient paths of our people, of the Most High, that they swerved away from, and we're coming back. We're coming back to those paths. That I have formed it. Now have I brought it to pass that thou shouldest be laid waste to fenced cities and to ruins and heaps. Therefore their inhabitants were of small power. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field and the green herb of the grass of the housetops, and as the corn blasted before it grew up. But I know thy abode, and thou going out and thy coming in, and thy rage against me, because thy rage against me and thy tumult is coming up in mine ears. Wherefore will I put my hook in thy nose and the bridle in thy lips, and I will turn thee back by the way which thou camest, and it shall be a sign unto thee. You shall eat this year such as groweth of itself, and the second year which springeth up of the same, and the third year sow ye and reap and plant vineyards and eat the fruit thereof. And the remnant that is escaped, the house of Yehudah, shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and they that escape out of Mount Zion, the zeal of Yahuwah of hosts shall do this. Therefore thus saith Yahuwah concerning the king of Yasharel, or the king of Assyria, you shall not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shields, nor cast a bank against it. But the way that he came, by the same shall he return, and not come into the city, saith Yahuwah. For I will defend the city to save it for my own sake, and for my servant David's sake. You understand that he made a covenant with David. And understand that on David's throne, the Most High will sit for all eternity. Hallelujah! See, the Most High keeps his promises. This is saying we don't even deserve these promises. He's keeping this promise to David's sake. Then the angel of Yahuwah went forth and smote the camp of the Assyrians, 185,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses. You see how when the enemy comes in and tries to tell you that, well, I've been successful 100% of the time in the past in your life. Hey, look all around you. I've destroyed every country, every city. We're coming to get you, buddy. We put out the best videos, the PowerPoints, and it's very, very real. You need to dig a hole and hide. But understand that Hezekiah consulted with the prophet Isaiah. The prophet Isaiah prophesied and said, "This is what Yah says," and the people responded with that. We laughed King of Syria. We laughed Hasatan, Satan, to a scorn and rebelled against him. And it came to pass, as he was worshiping in the house of Iskra, his god, that Ebker-Melech and Zerachus, his son, smote him with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Ameria. And Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his stead. So do you see that? I wrote in this little post on Facebook concerning these same chapters, and I said, let's rebel against the God of this world. And when the enemy comes in with his boasting and posturing and threatening, we will stand in the name of Yahushua and see him demonstrate his victory over his enemies. So as we read Isaiah 36 and 37, and I'm sorry if I butchered it because, man, I'm an American English guy, dude, and it's really hard to pronounce those names. So I say, stay strong, my people. Hezekiah's miraculous victory over Sennacherib, king of Assyria, is overnight. 185,000 Assyrian soldiers are put to death by an angel of Yah. Sennacherib and his general returned to Assyria defeated. See, defeated after all they said was, we have 100% victory of all the nations and we're coming in to take you over. They were defeated and humiliated, and Jerusalem is spared. This is minor compared to Yahushua coming back to set up his kingdom and destroy those that rule over us now. Similarities in the way that Reb Sakai spoke to Israel and the way Satan sometimes speaks to us. And we can learn from Hezekiah and his servants how we should respond to Satan, Hasatan, when he comes in against us with his lies and threats. Just as Hezekiah rebelled against the king of Assyria, we must rebel against the prince of this world. So when Satan, Hasatan, as the god of this world, comes at us in the way that Reb Sakai came against Hezekiah, we must not just open up the gates and let him in. We must rebel. If you read again Isaiah 36 and 37 in chapter 36:16, the evil ruler, just like Hasatan today, will tell you, do not listen to Hezekiah. For thus says the king of Assyria, make your peace with me and come out to me. Then each one of you will eat of his own vine, and each one of his own fig tree, and each one will drink the water of his own cistern. See how the devil lies to you? He says, well, I have all you need. You don't need to follow, these, Hezekiah, the God of Yasharel. Can you see him? You can see me. And you can see I've defeated all the armies around you. And I'm coming in for you next. But I'm willing to give you all these things that you need to take care of your body if you just surrender. You understand? That's how Satan works, because he knows that you're under the wing and you dwell under the shadow of the Almighty. And he can't touch you unless you allow him to touch you. And he works by entering into your mind, because that's why it's like the arena of faith to mind. That's where you have to cast down all these vain imaginations that Hasatan brings against you, and bring your thoughts into the captivity of the word, which are the promises of Yah through his word, through his Torah. Because if you don't, then you're going to listen to the king of Assyria, to Hasatan, and you're going to be like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I need to feed my family. I need to have a house to live in. I need to have the basic necessities to take care of this earth suit. So yeah, but you understand is when you do finally give in to that, he'll probably kill you the next day. And then you end up in the wrong place. You don't end up in the right place. So I go on to say that then each one of you shall eat of his own vine. He gives these promises. And until I come and take you away to a land like your own land. See, you have to understand that the Most High promised us eternal life. He's promised us a new heavens and a new earth. But like this Hasatan guy is like, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, He's trying to mimic like what the Most High gave you. He's going to give you this fallen world, these riches of this world, and you're going to be all blessed and happy. Your flesh is going to be pleased, the lust of your flesh. That's why in the Bazar it says like you have not because you ask not, because you consume it, because you ask, when you do ask, you consume upon your lust, because you just care about yourself, you care about your body. And that's how Satan operates. It's a land like your own land. See, he tries to come in like the Messiah when he says, bow down to me and I'll give you all the kings of this earth. Well, the Messiah already knew that his father gave him all the kings of this earth. So he tried to mimic what the Most High did with his flawed, fallen version of it that he can't follow through with. I will take you away to a land like your own land, a land of grain and wine, a land of bread and vineyards. So, Yasharel, if you're listening to me this long, your reply should be Isaiah 37:22. This is the word which Yahuwah has spoken concerning him. The virgin, the daughter of Zion, has despised you and laughed you to a scorn, and the daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head at you. And when temptation comes and Satan tries to convince us that we can't resist, we should just go with the flow. We should see that that lie is the very pathway to deliverance. Hallelujah.